Hey everybody, this is Cromar with TGN, and I'm here today to bring you some more Rift coverage, and today we're looking at Runic Descent. This is the 5-man upper 30s dungeon that's found in Moonshade Highlands. Target level is about 38, and I'm, 37 in this video. As you can see, we're not over-leveled by any means, so this is actually a pretty easy one. And it's also very short. It consists of 3 bosses, plus 3 encounters that are like traps or puzzles, and there's one coming up in just a second, so I'll make sure to actually show that. So after killing this group, we head over to the left, and there's an object we have to loot. As soon as they're dead here, run over here. And so I had no warning about this. I run up, right? There's no mobs. I don't know what's going on. And then all of a sudden, I just drop dead, right? So I'm like, wow, thanks for the warning, guys. Because they, some people had done this in the group already, so they knew what to expect, but I had no idea. But what's funny here is what you're trying to do is actually loot an object, which you can see, you can kind of barely see. It's hard to see with the black and white being dead and everything, but it is in the top right corner of the screen. Not top right exactly, just a little bit up and to the right from the respawn button. And as soon as you loot that, it completes the trap. There we go. So basically what it is it's like a puzzle. You have to kind of navigate those red circles, don't kill yourself like I did, and eventually pick up that item. Then after you pick up the item, an ad will spawn here. Yep, there he is, and you have to kill him as part of a quest. And there's 3 of them total. Now this isn't particularly hard. It's almost like it's barely even a mini boss. I think some of the regular single pull trash mobs are harder than these guys, so don't sweat it too much. So anyway, I'm running this as a bard and Nightblade spec. The Nightblade spec is for the passives, 15%. Extra damage to everything, and God, what else? It also gives me stealth, so I can do range sap and some other cool stuff like that. But mainly, it's for the 15% passive, because the more damage you do, as with Cadence as a bard, means the more healing you do. Now, keep in mind that bard is not a main healing spec. If you drastically overlevel the place, if you're overleveled, overgeared, then maybe you can, pass on that, but it's really not meant to be a main healing spec. There's no direct single target heals. There's only AoE heals, like passive stuff while you're attacking, or one finishing move, which is an AoE heal. It's pretty powerful. So it's not something you can really rely on. The main reason the bard is there is for support. Support healing, to save your healer some mana, as well as a bunch of really great buffs. Bard does okay AoE damage too in a pinch. Not all the time. You have to blow a cooldown to do it, but it's in a pinch, in certain situations, maybe boss fights where there's a tough ad phase, the bard can actually come through. So anyway, while I'm rambling about that, we've hit the boss here. This is Rictus, the first boss. He is a lot of fun. He's a very simple tank and spank except for one mechanic, which he does like a death grip ability that pulls you in. So in order to prevent that, what we do is we have all of our people stand back at ranged. Matter of fact, we have a melee character here who switched to a ranged role just so they could take advantage of this. And first of all, don't stand out in the open like I'm doing. Second, stand behind this block here. It's not going to block your line of sight, even though it kind of feels like it should, but it does block the death grip. And you saw someone just jump up there. It's not because they're jumping, it's because the death grip pulled them. But since there's obstructions in the way, it doesn't actually pull them to the boss. And the boss does massive AoE if too many people get close to him. So this is just a great strategy for taking him down. So once you take care of this one mechanic, the death grip, then it becomes tank and spank, and you can take it down no problem. He is probably the hardest boss in here though, just by default. Very slowly going down. So the bard's single target DPS is really, really poor. It makes him not really an asset on boss fights that much, unless it's ad-based boss fights, or unless there's a lot of AoE damage taken by the raid. And there you see someone accidentally got pulled in. Unless there's a lot of AoE damage taken by the raid, that's the only time the bard becomes like super useful, because of the healing. I mean, in terms of his damage, the buffs are always powerful, but on single targets, I wonder if it might not be more beneficial to switch to a different role, or have like a saboteur bard or some other. Maybe have someone who has bard as a secondary is what I mean, and have them use the buffs. But I'm just kind of thinking out loud there. I'm not really sure. whenever we run things, we always have someone that gets stuck with bard duty. I usually volunteer for it, especially since I'm usually the lowest level person in the group, just because my guildies are leveling faster than me, and I'm trying to keep up. Doing an okay job of it. I'm ahead of a couple people now, but we also have, I'm level 44 as of the time I'm recording this voiceover, and my guildies, we already have like 250s in the guild, so obviously they're out leveling me. But if I'm the lowest level, and I'll volunteer for bard duty. But anyway, we're coming up on the second trap here. This one is way more obvious that something's happening, and since we're kind of anticipating it, nothing disastrous happened here. So what you do is you have these two lasers and the object in the middle, and what you got to do is have people lead the lasers away, because they'll chase you if you get close. And one of them, see how one of them managed to pick up both lasers to get him to chase him. The other, as soon as the laser get far away, the guy runs in and loots. Very easy, no problem. So doing that spawns the second ad. And the instant he spawns, he runs over and kills me. Like, really? He just runs over and just death touches me like that. That was hilarious. These traps, they got it in for me, I guess. They like, oh, we didn't get him with the lasers, so let's just have the mob just run over and one shot him just for no reason. I loved it. But anyway, so continuing on with the dungeon. The dungeon's like a large part of this dungeon's done with. I mean, it's honestly, it really is a very short dungeon. It's like the shortest one. Okay, I just want to show you something here. You see that big fire breath? I forgot to mention this earlier, but each of the 3 mobs that you fight for the quest, where you loot, at the puzzles, they drop a special item, and a special item is unique to each one. Like the first one gives you a water item, the second one gives you a fire item, the third one gives you an air item, right? And each item is a consumable you can use one time only in this dungeon, and it does some special effect. The water one actually heals you. The second one, okay, well, actually I'll get back to that in a second. This is the third puzzle. This one is kind of funny. There's no trap here. It's just more annoying. You go to click on this thing, and poof, it disappears and teleports away. So we just kind of like chased it in circles without any real strategy. But as far as I know, the best way to do it is to have people standing in the spots where it spawns. Pick like 4 spots and have people stand there while someone else just runs around. And eventually it'll spawn in a spot that's guarded and you can pick it up. I mean, that's what I believe the strategy is. But either way, we did wind up getting it. I was trying to choose a spot and that strategy, and we did wind up getting it. So here's the third guy. And fortunately, this went a little better. I didn't manage to get myself killed on this one. But anyway, I was mentioning about those 3 items that they drop. The first one's the water that heals. The second one is the fire, and that does the fire breath. And you saw that on the bridge. It's a great AoE spot. It just does a massive amount of AoE. Nothing else special, but it's pretty nice because it's basically passive in addition to your normal effects. But the third one is the wind one. And you can actually see this here. I didn't slow it down for you, but we actually use the wind one. It picks them up off the ground and stuns them, and then you can keep just DPSing them like crazy while they're stunned, and it's really powerful. But of course you only use it here, but that's okay. So just pick whatever pulls look like the hardest to you, and use the item, and really kick their ass. It's not too important. It's not like something you have to save for a specific encounter. Of course, on expert mode, that may change. That would be actually very interesting. So you pick up another quest here. The quest that you pick up is very simple. It's just looting 3 things off the ground after this boss. I'm not really even going to highlight it because there's no need to. It's like the simplest thing in the world. You can see it on your map. But this boss is Wormwood, big tree. And the only mechanic here is he spawns these giant mushrooms all over the place, and you just get away from them because they explode. And they do a lot of damage, knock you around and stuff, so don't let them hit you. We actually wiped once on this boss because the tank was standing on a mushroom. Other than that, we did fine. I think our tank was having I don't know if this is an issue that's happened to anyone else, but our tank was having an issue where the first encounter he was bugged, and he couldn't see the boss. Like, he could see the circle around his feet, so he knew he was on top of him, but he couldn't actually see the model. There was just a big empty space, so that's kind of weird. I don't know if that's happened to anyone else or if that's normal. Probably not. It's probably just a one-time thing, but as you can see, this is really, really simple. Just don't stand in the damn mushrooms, and you'll be fine. Almost there. He doesn't need too much damage at all, really. The boss doesn't. So, more mushrooms. Out of the way. It's a little hard to tell sometimes between the difference between the mushrooms that are just part of the scenery versus the ones he's spawning. I guess the ones he's spawning are a little more
that promised us immortality.
the ones that spawn all over the place are just a little more like rounded, I believe. They look like bulbs. And anyway, so that's all with that boss. So let's get on to the next trash pull here, back on fast time. And there's a couple more of these giants. These giants are not a problem. And then there's, oh yeah, hey, level up, nice. So he's done. And some more AoE pulls, and honestly, yeah, time to allocate points. Honestly, there's not much else to do here. You've finished the 3 traps, you finished the first 2 bosses, and at this point, it's just pretty much just a series of trash pulls before the end. This is, I mean, when I said before this is a very short dungeon, this video is coming out to about 15 minutes, just over 15 minutes. But that's only because I slowed it down for the traps. So, when you actually play it, and you're actually playing a normal speed, it's actually the shortest dungeon, I think, that we've done out of all of them. Nice drop. I think he wound up using that drop, but anyway. So that finished that quest, the random pickup quest, not a big deal. And we're on to the last room here. And right past this last dinky little pull, we're going to get to the last boss. Oh, no, there's still one more. So much trash. But, that's not a bad thing, at least not in the regular dungeons. Hopefully the trash is a little bit more challenging, but less plentiful in expert dungeons, because on regular dungeons, you're there for the experience largely. So killing a whole bunch of easy trash is not a problem as long as it doesn't get too excessive. But in expert dungeons, you want it at a minimum. You want it to be challenging, but not tedious. But anyway, so this is the last guy here.
Tell me not of craft and kin. Death is all that remains.
Funny thing about this, I honestly don't know what the strategy is for this boss. I know that sounds retarded, but I've killed this guy like 3 or 4 times, and it's just like the simplest, dumbest tank and spank imaginable. He does do like a knockback occasionally, and that's the extent of it. I mean, that's it. I don't even know. I mean, I asked the other group members, like, are you guys doing anything here? Like, are you guys avoiding any damage? It's just like, it's like, even the first dungeon in the game is more complicated than this. Realm of the Fae is more complicated than this. There's not even like a don't stand in the bad stuff part of this boss. I think on the second time I killed this guy, I wasn't paying any attention to what I was doing. I was just like circle strafing, jumping, and mashing attack keys. And eventually he died, and I was like, whoa, that was the boss? And yeah, so not the most challenging boss. So you just pretty much surround him, mug him, and he goes down. So hopefully that'll be a little more challenging in expert mode, something I'm looking forward to in the very near future. And believe me, we will be doing plenty of expert mode guides. That's going to be a big feature here. So that is done. That is done. Alright, well that's Runic Descent for you. Short, easy dungeon, great experience, great, doesn't waste a lot of your time, and I like it. Okay, well that's it for today. Thanks for watching. This is Cromar with TGN.